What is anarchism for you?
Anarchism is, for me, is firstly is freedom, and like as mind, as a sort of ideology, it is as an ideology, it's like a hope, a dream of a classless and stateless community, and then anarchism for me is not just a history or famous people. It is a fight for freedom. It is really fight for freedom everywhere, in all over the world, and that happens, that continues nowadays also. Yeah, it's anarchism, like actually is a dream of real freedom for me, and that's why I think that I'm an anarchist. My name is Mamad. I came from Azerbaijan. I was a political prisoner, a prisoner of conscience from 2013 to 2016 to March this year. From March 13th year, for 4 years. For 3 years, I was in jail for organizing with my friends big demonstrations against the state and against the government. And we were arrested. We were in prison for some years, and then we went out from 3 years. Then I met many anarchists in the world in IFA Congress. It's the International Federations of Anarchists in Frankfurt in August, in Congress of IFA. And there were anarchists from all over the world, from Europe, from South America, even from Cuba or from New Zealand, etc. And from Asia, of course, like from Turkey and other countries, from Kurdistan. Of course, there are the fights and the movements in other countries are other, like they are different from like the movement in Brazil or movement in Turkey or anarchist movement in Switzerland. They are very different, and especially there are anarchists. They try to be a part of the social lives of their countries. They're part of their the politics and social activists. There are like good social activists in their own countries. But of course, there are some countries that are very interesting for me, especially Turkey or like countries in South America, like Mexico, Chile, Brazil, which are historical for the the main part of the anarchism of 19th century, of 20th century, and which are very important for now for like Rojava experience in Kurdistan, in the south part of Syria, and connection between Turkish anarchists and them, or Zapatists in Mexico, or Mapuche people in Chile, their fight for freedom, their fight against state. I think it was a very good experience for me, the Congress of IFA, for build new connections with anarchists from all over the world, and for share problems in my country, because on 10th May were imprisoned 2 anarchists in Azerbaijan for writing a monument of ex-president of dictator Haydar Aliyev, and of course it's very there was a presentation of Azerbaijan. I did the presentation of Azerbaijan in Congress. And it's very important for me to share this information and information about the news about our comrades in Azerbaijan. And of course, it's very important like solidarity demonstrations in other countries and all over the world for our comrades.
What do you believe to be the greatest strength of our movement, and what is the greatest weakness?
I think that we have to be we don't have so good connection between, there's no very good connection between anarchists from all over the world. I think that we have to improve this. We have to build new connections between other anarchists from other countries. That's why I think that there are other problems, like we can speak about problems of Europe, of anarchists in Europe. It's the other point, and anarchists in South America, in like periphery, it's the other problem. As you said, the central capitalist countries are the other point, and the periphery at South America or Asia, except China maybe. It's the other point. That's why there are the main things, the main differences between these countries, between movement of these countries. Because the movement in Europe, the movement in Greece, it's very different from the movement in Brazil or from the movement in Mexico or even Turkey.
But if we stay here in Europe, what is our greatest weakness?
The weakness is, I think that anarchist movements or anarchist groups in Europe, especially anarchist groups in Europe, it is very important for me, that the point that they support comrades from Azerbaijan. They organize solidarity demonstrations for comrades in prison in Azerbaijan. But it's also important to do some things for make news, for make new politics from anarchist movement in Europe. We have to do something, we have to change something in Europe also. There is not everything great in Europe, but when you see to the groups of Europe, they are very calm for, maybe except Greece or sometimes French anarchists, they are very calm for the situations in their countries. Anarchism is not fighting just against the jails or the people in jail or for the anarchists in jail, but it's also we are fighting against capitalism, against inequality, against state, and there still exists the inequality still exists in Europe, and sometimes it's very terrible in some places, and the state of course exists in Europe, and that's why I think that the most weakness of Europe anarchist group movements is not to work more and more on their cases, on their countries, on the problems of their own countries. I think that at some point it's more and more easy for anarchists in Europe to do many things as when you compare with the anarchists in other countries, as in my country, when you compare anarchists in United Kingdom with when you compare the situation in United Kingdom and Azerbaijan, it's really big difference between them, because in United Kingdom or in other countries in Europe you have some liberal rights, which you don't have in other countries in the East or in other countries in South America, and etc. And that's why I think that anarchists in Europe they must use this liberal rights, and they must work more and more. I watched the movement in Europe, in Greece, and I love this movement, but sometimes it's change from the one group to the other group, because I have some connection I had some connection in Congress with Greece and Greek anarchists, and they were talking about the situation in Greece that is changed. There are many groups. Some of these are fighting with guns, some of these are against this, and etc. And there are many anarchists in prisons in Greece. Yeah, I think that the anarchist movement in Greece is the best movement of Europe. Is the best anarchist movement in Europe. And I hope that they will achieve some good things in Europe, in Greece, then in France, then I don't know, also in Bulgaria.
And then all over the world.
Yeah, of course.
Do you see yourself as an anarchist after 20 years?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think that, because I found myself in anarchism, and like I was looking for me, who I am, etc. And I found myself in anarchism, in this idea, in this ideology. And I'm not dogmatical, of course, but I think that it will not change in some years.
How do you imagine to achieve revolution when the people are not ready for it, and you don't want to take the power?
Okay. For me, anarchist revolution, and especially the state, is not a thing that we can destroy in one day with one revolution. There are several things that we have to do before this day, the big revolution day. And in this point, I'm more closer to the point of Gustav Landauer or Ralph Konzen and to these anarchists. For me, firstly, we have to change to do revolution now. We have to change some things now. I think that the state is not something like a dinosaur. A dinosaur. It's like with one eye or something like this. The state is just the relation between people, and for destroying the state, for the stateless community in the future, we have to change our relation, and we have to learn to live, to exist without the state, without the relations with the state. And we have to build our communities, our communes, our collectives, or how do you call it? It doesn't matter. Just now, and we have to start it just now, and we have to work on it from now. And then, by time, we can achieve, I think, that many good points, and we can occupy by this way, the whole of the country, the whole of the states, and the whole of the countries, and then we can work on, and with this we have to work on our propaganda, of course, because we don't believe on historical materialism at all, and that's why we have to work, because we believe that we can achieve some things with propaganda, and that's why we have to work on our propaganda hardly also, and that's why, and then after that we will occupy more and more places. We can share this with other places, and of course we can share we have to share our propaganda more and more, and I think that then we can achieve our revolution in one day.